My name is Mike Quinlan, and I am chairman of the Dale Street School Building Committee. I've been a resident of Medfield for about 14 years, and I have chaired the Permanent Planning and Building Committee for about 8 years now. The Dale Street School project is in a phase that's called the feasibility study phase. Specifically, we're at a point where we are choosing what we call a preferred schematic, which means that we've identified a site, we've recommended that to the Board of Selectmen, we know the scope of the project, and we will be seeking their vote to support submission of what we call a preferred schematic report, which identifies that option to the Mass School Building Authority. If they approve that next week, that will go in front of the Mass School Building Authority in their February board meeting. And if that moves forward, we will then subsequently continue design, and we'd be looking at approvals for funding for the project in the fall of next year. Basically, as we've been working through the design process, which has now been a little over a year, or just about a year, we explored multiple options for grade configuration, which included a 3 to 5 school, grades 3 to 5, and a grades 4 to 5 school, which is the configuration that we have today. We explored multiple sites for the building, including mainly the existing Dale Street School site and the existing Wheelock School site. We explored other options in town and to see if there were better opportunities. There really weren't. Those two sites were deemed to be most likely. We then subsequently went on a design process of exploring, I think it was somewhere around 15 different options and configurations. And we have since, as a school building committee, voted unanimously to support a new building at the Wheelock site, which is what we've recommended to the Board of Selectmen for their support. So the main public concerns right now really have to do with the neighborhood that we're going to be proposed, that we've proposed the building to be built in, which is the Wheelock neighborhood, which includes Elm Street, Knollwood, Cross, and the surrounding areas. And we just held a forum on Monday with the neighbors in that area to really kind of understand what their concerns are. They largely revolve around traffic, which we're just starting to get some analysis done to see how we might be able to mitigate traffic impacts on that neighborhood. And then the other general concerns around town is about tax impact. What's it going to mean to the average taxpayer? How their wallet's going to be affected if this project gets approved. So those seem to be the biggest focus from the community. It's what we're hearing the most feedback. In terms of the tax impact, we won't have final numbers until approaching the special town meeting next fall, but we have put out estimates there of what that would cost. And then in terms of the traffic, we will be doing additional traffic analyses and traffic counts to see where the traffic is as a baseline and how we might be able to mitigate what could be, potentially additional staff and parent drop-off at the Wheelock site. So that's just starting. We're going to continue to hold community forums with that neighborhood to try to mitigate any negative impacts. If you go to the Medfield Schools website, there is a Dale Street School project portion of that page where all the documentation, all the countless presentations is all stored. There's also an email address. It's dalestreetschoolproject@gmail.com. Those are the two main ways that you can reach us as a committee or find out more about the project. If for some reason they are unable to do that, reaching out to the schools or Christine Trierweiler as our town administrator can all assist in getting information to us or requests for information to us. I'm really excited about this project. I think it could potentially be a real benefit to the town. I recognize that this is going to be the largest project from a dollars perspective that this town has ever embarked on. That's not lost on us. We recognize making commitments of that size and really, how it impacts everybody's wallet is difficult. Elementary schools, are challenging, and unfortunately, construction is not cheap. Though it has come down a little recently thanks to the pandemic, but it's definitely something that's going to be a huge concern for residents over the next 10 or 11 months before we get to town meeting. And we're trying to share as much information as we can and respond to as many questions as we can. We're putting up frequently asked questions on the website as a way to try to answer those questions easily. And anything that's not on there, they can reach out to us. So what I can say is it's been great so far working with the school building committee, which is made up of not just the permanent building committee, but also members of the school committee, the school administration, the town administration, and the warrant committee. So everybody's put in a lot of effort. I have to say the Zoom meetings that go 3 or 4 hours, as exhausting as they are, have actually been really good. I think we've gotten far more participation from the public than on any project or any issue that I'm aware of, because people are, it's a little easier for people to turn on the Zoom and listen and ask questions than it is to actually get out, people, especially with little kids or things like that, where babysitting becomes an issue. So I think the process has been complicated by the pandemic. We've taken some time to slow things down. We've filed for 3 extensions with the Mass School Building Authority to the tune of 6 months total between the 3. So we've really taken a step back. We're trying to be as conservative as we can fiscally, but still making good long-term decisions about the future of this town and the future of our school system. So all of those things are on our mind. This is a very complicated project, but I think we've got a great building committee that's really tasked with managing all of it. And we've had it's been a great experience working with our design team from Arrow Street and our owner's project manager, Medfield, who help us enormously.